a change of our set, but this is Courtside Comparisons presented by NerdWallet with Guerschon Yabusele. Again, we'll get into some film breakdown as we do on this show, and in the first episode with Guerschon, some of his best dunks from the first half of the season. You can check that out on the Sixers YouTube channel a little further back, and interviews with other players as well. But we're happy to have him back, and we're going to get started with reminiscing on the Olympics just for a moment because of the documentary.
Yeah.
The Court of Gold documentary. Did you get a chance to watch some or all of it?
No, I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't have a chance to watch it yet, just because we got a lot of things going on with the season and stuff, so I didn't get the chance to sit down and watch it, but I heard it was pretty good.
Did you see any of the clips that were going around? I mean, you lived it. That's
right,
the difference.
Right.
So the Nico Batum speech,
yeah.
What was that like to experience?
I mean, it was definitely most needed. I remember I was talking to him and that day in the beginning of the game, just because we feel like we was not there. And I was talking to him, try to figure it out, what's going on, like we feel like this is not our team, this is not us. So we was kind of like talking. So when he went to the locker room and talked about it, I think he was right. He was right on most of the thing. And Nico, for us, is the leader of our team, so having him saying those things, wake us up a little bit, then that's what we needed at that time.
Because you lived the experience, how will you remember that moment of your career, that Olympic summer?
I was gonna say just the whole Olympic for me was just like a dream coming true. When you grew up and you watch the TV, the Olympic is the most fun part. Like you get to see all the sport, you get to see all these athletes being in the same place, same time. You get to watch, track, soccer, a bunch of other sports. So for me, growing up and watching the Olympics and not being part of it was definitely something special. My first experience in Japan, it was COVID, so we had no fans, no family, so it was a little bit different. But now to get to do the Olympics in my hometown, in my city, with my friends, with my family, it was just something special, man. It's something that I can't really explain. Like you say, I lived it, but it was really something special. Every game, every moment, we share so many memories with the teammates, with the fans. It was just awesome.
It was great for all of us out there to see some of the behind the scenes of some of what it was like for you guys.
Yeah.
Couple film clips that aren't on the court to start, and I don't want you to see this before. Oh, that's
okay.
gonna be coming up. But this is Coach talking about you before some of the recent games.
Okay.
Because when you guys travel around,
right,
reporters in other cities will ask about Guerschon all the time to Coach because they see you once or twice a year.
Yeah.
And this is what Coach said before the Minnesota and Boston games. And we'll just watch him, and then you can react to his comments. Let's start with Minnesota.
Yeah. Been great since day one. Just true pro, plays hard, great teammate, gives absolutely everything he can give every night, and has been pretty durable for us too. Been out there most nights. All the other stuff he's doing that people notice, the three-point shooting, the posting up mismatches, the rebounding, all that stuff has been almost like all just kind of icing on the cake, really. We weren't sure what he was going to bring us, but he's brought us some reliability, especially when we've been down so many guys at the 5. He's 6'6", playing the 5. We've been great offensively with him there, but defensively it's a challenge. Rebounding, it's a challenge, just sheer size. But amazing attitude, amazing person. He's played really hard all season long.
Okay, that's Minnesota, and then one more recently from the last Boston game.
Yeah, for sure. First and foremost, he's played very well all year. Plays very hard. He's like a coach's dream, true pro. Plays hard every night. Is out there almost every night. He's played almost all the games. Great spirit, all that kind of stuff, and has it exceeded? We didn't know if he was going to help us at all at the start of the year. He was kind of like one of the last guys picked up as we went in there, and we did kind of have a need at the roster there. We thought so. It's been a lot of positives from him. He's been really awesome. Shooting inside, energy, effort, all been there.
What's your reaction to hearing those words from Coach Nurse?
I mean, I'm so thankful. First of all for the coach, the organization. All the people that's up there and they help me come back to the league and give me a second chance. And it's just awesome to hear this. From coaches because obviously our season has been a lot of up and downs. But my motivation and my motto is to go over there and always play hard. I just try to give everything on the court. I feel like I got nothing to lose. I always go over there to try to compete. To try to win games. I'm a big competitor. So when I go out there, I just want to leave everything that I got in me and try to bring all the best to try to help the team. But just to hear this, man, it's just I'm really glad and I'm happy to hear this. It really pushed me towards where I want to go, and I'm gonna keep pushing.
The icing on the cake stuff that he talked about, 3-point shooting, post-up mismatches, rebounding. What out of those are you most proud of?
I want to say all of it, all of it, because it's I've been, since I've been out of the league, I've been really working on all of this stuff that he says, especially the 3-point shooting, but, just my IQ, really try to understand the game, know what I can do, what I can't do, know where to pass the ball, know when to shoot, when to attack, all of this thing, like he mentioned also the post-up, with the mismatch or, just when you have a matchup to be able to score, all of this thing I work on, so for, somebody like him to notice that means a lot for me.
Now, kind of a sharp transition here into some lighthearted content. Some people out there may have been there. Others may have seen the clip on the Sixers social media channels, but you were really getting after it on the dance floor at the Sixers Youth Foundation Gala. So just one clip that will break down from that. Where do the dance moves come from? Been dancing your whole life kind of thing? Life of the party?
Yeah, I was first of all having a lot of fun, like for me to have this like, kind of gala kind of night when you can share a moment with the fans, with like, with the people that work in the organization that you don't really see every day, but they're behind the desk, working hard for us, having a little moment with them is always fun, so I'm always like enjoy those little time. I wish we got more time like this so we can, be together. Because, we spend so many times, with the players, with the coaches all the time, like, on the court, practicing and everything. So when we have a little night off like this, when we can, like, have time and share a moment, I'm always all for it. And I was having fun the next day because one of the coaches was talking to me. He was like, I didn't know you can dance like that. I was like, well, they call me a dancing bear for a reason. So
Dancing
I
bear.
had to show you guys a couple of moves,
The life of the party. The last episode with Guerschon ended up going out on our channel the morning of the Lakers game. So the dunk against the Lakers wasn't one of those dunks that we went over. So let's start with that. What do you think about this one?
Steal. Yabusele trucks his way to the rim.
Anthony Davis jumped.
That's That's pretty good. That's energy right there. That's definitely a good moment in the game. Happened early in the game. Then watching the bench reaction, gets me going. This is like I'm definitely like feeding off this. So having this reaction and see everybody going a little crazy like this make me want to do more of this for sure.
How long have you been ending your dunks with that one hand hanging off the rim? Because I saw that in the Olympics too.
Yeah, I would say I started in Madrid.
And you have to jump off or else you're going to get a technical, right?
Yeah, I have to leave it. But, sometimes when you come like with full speed, you got to hang a little bit because if not, I'm going to fall down, So I've been doing it a couple of times in Madrid. Like, you got to understand, like, I don't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
It's just me going and then hanging up one and going down. And then, like, somebody actually mentioned on that and would say I be doing the monkey dunk, like when I go and grab. And, it was just fun. It was just fun.
How about this one? Against your old team, the Celtics.
Yeah.
What or who inspired the beating of the chest celebration?
Yeah, that's a good question. A couple of the guys was having fun with it. I seen a couple of guys do it too, and then we all start doing this. But it started as a joke first, and then I seen people keep doing it, and I was like, after this dunk, I know it was special. It was up. It was just a little reaction. Sharing a moment with the fans too.
Speaking of celebrations, it's kind of becoming a theme here, but
Yeah.
in the Chicago game,
Yeah.
you unfortunately had the eye injuries.
Yeah.
So coming out of that, you put on the sports goggles.
Yeah.
The way that you described that for anyone who may not have seen, you said it felt like someone reached in and touched your brain, which is
Yeah.
just a vivid way of describing an
Yeah.
injury. So I'm glad that you're doing better now,
Thank
of
you.
course, but coming out of that, you had the goggles, which led to some big moments in the Warriors game that involved the goggles. So let's watch this out. And then did you see who was at the game courtside, who was fired up for you? So the first one to make it a 4-point game.
Yeah. I don't remember who was there.
And then watch this next one. Because then you hit the goggles celebration on this one. Did you have that in the plans?
No, it's just
Same shot,
it's-
almost.
Yeah, almost. That's what I'm saying. It came naturally. Oh, AI, yeah. Yeah. I've seen it. I got. You know what? During the game, I didn't even see him because
It was the other side of the court,
really,
too.
Like, living kind of like the moment a little bit, so I didn't really like see it. And then after the game, I got mentioned. I was like, oh my God, like how cool is that? Like, being able to come back, being in here in Philly, and then having AI celebrating, getting hype. It was like you said, the ice in the cake. It was a special night.
Was Iverson someone that you had seen highlights of growing up? Because I know
Yeah.
part of your story is kind of being introduced to Kobe Bryant while you
yeah.
were growing up in France via YouTube, but Iverson too?
Oh yeah, for sure. Bunch of NBA players, not even my position. I just like to watch them, for the flow, for like the style and everything. Allen Iverson, one of them, I was also watching, for example, Charles Barkley back in the day. I was also watching, Shaquille O'Neal. Like, it's a bunch of guys that I'd be watching the highlights, Carmelo Anthony, Tracy McGrady. Those are like the popular guy kind of that I was just watching to see how they play, how they understand the game, and how they move in general, So I just like to pick up, everybody and, try to do my own thing with it.
After the Celtics part of your career, you went back to China. It's something
Yeah.
we talked about on the last interview. So a second China stint. What was the most challenging part of your basketball journey to get back here?
I think China after Boston was a little bit one of them, I would say, because first of all, we didn't have a good season that year. Lots of problem with the team that I was at, and the transition from like leaving the NBA to go to China was really like rough, because in my mind, I knew I was not in the NBA no more, but for you to really understand that you're not in the NBA no more, it takes time, so everything I was doing, I was like, oh my God, like, over there would be different. Like every situation that I was going through, I was comparing to the NBA, and that was making it hard, for me to move on kind of like a little bit. So I would say after China, when I went back to France, because I didn't finish that season over there, it was so crazy that I had to go back to France and stay a little bit without a club, So, being back to that process when I was sitting down with my wife and, she was pregnant with my first baby. So I was like, what am I going to do? I got drafted first round, 16 picks, and, 3 years after that, I don't have any club, and I'm sitting here right now, and what's going to be next, So once I realized that and I put this to my mind, then I just started working out crazy and start falling in love with the process, with the working hard to, I respect the game, went back to zero to where I'm at right now. But, I just keep on pushing, That's why it's always funny when people say, oh, you got so much energy, you're doing this. I'm like, listen, I'm come from like a far place, where I had to work hard and don't cheat, So I'm always grateful and happy for everything that happened so far in my life.
we're going to talk about your draft experience to end things, but before that, because this is your return to the NBA, not just when you play against the Celtics this year, but other teams too, what has the reaction of players and coaches that knew you the first time been like? Like, are people talking to you about you being back, congratulating you like every game out when you see those people again?
For sure. It's always a great time, you know, especially for me to go back to Boston. You know, I got so much people over there that truly have, you know, love for me, you know, friends and fans, you know, so when I go back there, it's always fun to go back to the Garden, you know, even just driving the airport towards the hotel, you know, seeing a little bit the city, how much is involved. You know, the players will always, you know, share a couple of jokes, you know. We always talk a little bit, so it's always fun to go back there. But I was actually surprised, and I talked about it with my family. A lot of players that I don't even know personally sometimes come to me in a game and it's like, hey, congratulations on being back in the league. You know, like a lot of guys be just giving me congratulations in the game too. So sometimes it's like, oh my God, thank you. Like, you know, it means a lot. So, you know, just having that respect and that appreciation for other players is, you know, it's amazing to me, you know.
Was there one player that surprised you the most that said something?
I would say one of my friends sent it to me, and it was KD after the Phoenix game at the beginning of the season. Just, you know, kind of saying that I think after the game, like, they asked him, and he was like, yeah, congrats to him, like, to be back where he belongs, you know, because usually KD talk a lot of trash, especially after that first Olympic in Japan. You know, he had the interview where he was like, I just don't like the French team, and, you know, especially Guerschon, like, you know, he was saying stuff like this. So I was like, okay. But, you know, having him, you know, jokes apart, having him saying that, you know, means a lot. You know, like I say, I work really hard to try to be back. So having that respect and appreciation from the players in the league and, you know, players like big names, it's amazing too. Even Draymond Green after that game, you know, he said congratulations, you know, like, keep doing your thing, you know, stay healthy, you know, just the basic, but just having him saying that, you know, it means a lot. You know, I remember when I got drafted, I have a lot of comparison to him, you know, to his game, to the way he played. And I remember that year when I was in France, I was watching a lot of Golden State, like, you know, how he played, like, he changed completely the team, like, you know, the way they was playing was amazing. So having him just saying that, you know, means a lot.
Speaking of the draft, you came in, this is the last thing from the Celtics draft with Jaylen Brown, but you were 16th pick.
Yeah. No, that draft was crazy, and that night, like, you know, me, I was predicted to be like late first round, you know, early second, maybe middle. So I remember just going to the restroom with my agent at the pick, like 13, and coming back like end after 14 or 15, you know, sitting down and, you know, on the phone with my guys from friends and try to, like, you know, because I was stressed, obviously. So we talk a little bit, and then we see those guys coming, and then, you know, they're stopping next to us because, you know, Boston didn't talk and say anything to nobody. So, you know, for us, it was a real big surprise. So when we found out, like, I'm next, like, everything just started going crazy. I start shaking. I'm like, oh my God. So we in the stairs. I'm like, just don't fall down the stairs. Like, just go slow, take your time. I was trying to, you know, fix the hat because it was too small, but I couldn't fix it because I was shaking. I was going. And then I see TLC. He was down there. So he get up, shake my hands. It was just a dream. So after that, like, I barely remember what happened, you know. Like, we went back home. I was just smiling for 2 months. Like, after 2 months, I was like, oh my God, I got drafted by Boston Celtics, like 16. Like, it was just crazy. But, you know, one of the best moments and memories of my life.
Quick follow-up on the way out. Were you in the stand, like the stands in the arena during the draft?
Yeah.
Because there's a select number of people at the tables.
Yep.
So you had to come down from the stands?
Yeah, exactly. I was not near the table. Like, I was, you know, in my mind, and, you know, like, people got to understand that. Like, I was not supposed to be, I mean, I don't want to say I was not supposed to be, but, like, you know, I was predicted, like, late first round or early second round, you know. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I got time. You know, I'm telling you, I was on the phone, like, talking, having fun, like, okay. And then we see this guy stopping next to me with all the cameras. My agent is like, this is for Guerschon? He was like, yes. It was like, Yabusele? He said, yes. he said, Guerschon Yabusele. And then it was like, yeah, like it turned. Like we seen 16, he shake my hand, like we hug. I remember my mom was crying, and I was like, oh my God. And I was just on the phone, I just threw my phone in and I started getting serious for a second. I was like, oh my God, like this is right now, you know? So it's been amazing, man.
The picture with Commissioner Silver lives forever. The 16th
Yeah, I know,
pick.
for sure.
That's awesome. Thanks everybody for tuning in. This was the
Thank you.
Guerschon season finale of Courtside Comparisons presented by NerdWallet. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.